Hello everyone, welcome to Dear Love Talk. And no, it's not a lion tamer sitting here next to me. This is my beautiful wife. She looks lovely with this red jacket, by the way.
I should have a whip, isn't it, if I'm alive?
Yes. Yes, but then you would really look like a lion tamer. Anyway, welcome to the program. I'm James.
And I am Helena. And all you need to do in order to get in touch with us is to email us on questions@lovetalkshow.tv.
That's right. Send us your questions. We are here to help you with any relationship matter. Let's go to our first question of the day, which comes from someone who attended our marriage course. And it says, "Hi, Dear Love Talk. Although my wife and I have been together for 2 years and manage our marriage, finances, and commitments really well, it's only recently that we have touched on having joint bank accounts. We always share bills and everything else 50-50. And the thought of losing control of what money is mine and what is hers fills me with dread. You guys have been together for a lot longer than we have. Should I be this scared?" Well, when people usually ask this question, I tend to get a little bit upset because I don't understand why you would be married and have two separate accounts or manage things separately. But on this occasion, I'm not going to be upset because you seem to be quite genuine in how you ask your question. I think there is always a little bit of fear when you let go of managing every single penny of your money and you put everything in one pot. I just think you should have done it a lot earlier, right? Usually you do that even before you get married. Shortly before you get married, you start to talk about how much money you make and you open a joint account and so on. Now, I don't think you should be afraid because you guys already have good dynamics in managing things. It's just a matter of you working with a new strategy to say, look, since everything is going to be in one pot, we now have to talk more about our finances. And that's basically it. You seem to have a good relationship from what you said in your question. So I wouldn't be too worried. I think it's mainly just fear of the unknown. Perhaps you're just afraid of something you're doing that is new, you haven't done before, and perhaps you're a little bit skeptical about it. But don't be. It's actually better than managing things separately.
Yes, and well, I hope your wife doesn't spend too much because then you should be afraid. No, it's just a joke. But in a more serious note, I understand why people these days, and I sound really old now, it's normal for people to have their money, your money, my money, your money, and this is something we talk about at our seminars quite a lot because majority of people who get divorced is to do with finances. They don't agree on things, and we always encourage couples to have a joint account, to always talk every time they get paid. So what are we doing? Let's plan. How much do we save? How much do we? So it might be a bit scary for someone who has never done that before, but it works. It works really well, and it brings you really close together, and it makes you see your partner in a different perspective because. And this is why many have problems, because when you start doing this, some realize how stingy they are and how difficult it is for them to let go of that little money they have. You know, sometimes it's not even that much, it's a little. But then again, it's to do with their upbringing, how they were brought up. Maybe they were very poor, I don't know. But it will work. Give it a go and it will work.
Don't be afraid. You're doing everything right. It's just this minor adjustment, which, by the way, should have happened already some time ago. Right?
Well, but it's never too late.
Absolutely.
Next question is by Martha Slimani. I think that's correct. "Hi, my husband works as a long distance lorry driver and spends some days away from home. I feel really lonely because he is away so much. But I know he loves his job and I don't know how to tell him that I am unhappy about our situation." Well, you need to let him know how unhappy you are with the situation, but the key point here is how you do it. Okay, let's say that I'm you and this is your husband. You don't go to him, especially on that time of the month
We didn't rehearse this. Let's see what's going to happen.
you know when you are most emotional and all these things, don't do it at that time. But choose a good time, you know, when you are out doing something together, going out for dinner or whatever, and you tell him, you know, about your job. I really appreciate the hard work that you do for us, because trust me, it is hard work to drive a lorry long distance, because I know I have family members who do that. So thank him for that, first of all, but tell him afterwards how this makes you feel not so happy. You feel a bit like you are far away for too long, and you don't like that. So talk to him in a nice way, check your tone of voice, and when you speak, and how you speak, and where you speak.
And the truth is that any job that forces you to spend a lot of time away from each other, it's on the long term, it's not good. I know that there are couples, and I know couples who have been in situations like this for many years, and they got used to it. But I think in an ideal world, where possible, we should try to avoid to spend time away from each other.
Especially if you have children.
Absolutely, and not only because you want that person there close to you. So, you know, if possible, do try to let him know that, you know, it's not ideal for you and you would like things to change. Remember that even if he does accept that he will try to choose a different career, these things don't change overnight, because, you know, a change of career, it's difficult.
It's a big thing.
Sometimes he doesn't need to change career. Maybe he just needs to change to do a route that is closer to your home. But you have to approach this one with wisdom and, you know, delicately, because he loves his job. You don't want to be alone, and it can be difficult to bring something up when the person really likes what they do. But indeed, it's not ideal. We do know couples who have made something like this work, but it's tough. And, you know, ideally you want to spend as much time as you can together. So do try to talk to him. Okay?
Absolutely. Well,
another final question for you.
Yes, for me.
This week we had 2 questions for you in the previous show. Today again. It's the Lion Tamer. It's the Lion Tamer's jacket.
Well, it's from Facebook. Someone asked us this question on Facebook, and it says, "Hi Helena, I wonder if you can help." I hope so. I moved in with my partner 3 years ago, and we are going through some problems. When we used to date, he was very caring and affectionate. As soon as we moved in and tried to build a life together, it's like all romance went out the window, and I feel he takes me for granted. How do I get him to notice me?
Yeah, this one.
I like this question.
This one is really for you.
It seems to me like you've given too much too soon. And that's the problem. It's like, for example, let's say that I have a goat in my house and it gives me milk. It gives me milk. I go there every morning and I get the milk and I make cheeses out of the milk. I do everything, you know, out of the milk. I'm not going to need to go to the supermarket anymore because I have the milk at home. And I have the cheese at home and everything else at home. So why am I saying this? Because when I know it's quite fashionable these days, and again I sound really old, to move in together, to get to know each other a lot better, but it doesn't really work. Because when you give too much too soon, what's the point? So I don't know how you behave around him, you know, at home. But if you are the kind who is already behaving like, you know, very, very close to him, always
very clingy and needy.
Yeah, like chewing gum in your hair.
Have you ever had chewing gum in your hair?
I've had.
It's the worst thing. You have to cut your hair. And you can't.
And the more you try to remove, the harder it gets, and the more hair you get stuck in there. It's a problem. But, you know, jokes aside, it is a put off when you are always seeking for attention.
I think there are 2 important things here, like you were saying. You don't move in with someone to get to know them. You need to know them before you are with them. You move in with them, right? Otherwise, you keep this process of going backwards and forwards. But also, like Helena was saying, you know, when something it's there in your face. The more something is in your face, the less you want it, right? The more it's offered to you, the less you want it. Think about this. When something is really difficult to get, really hard to get, that's when it becomes more expensive. One of the most expensive things to buy, to put in your food, is truffles, right? And truffles, they come from the ground and they're tremendously expensive because they're hard to get, they're hard to find. And maybe that should be the approach. Maybe you have tried to get him to notice you so much that it's become invasive and too much. So maybe, you should talk to him about how you feel, but at the same time, let him be the one who comes after you, who chases you, and that will change the dynamics of the relationship.
And just to finish, don't think that marriage, if you're already moving in, if you're already living with him and you already feel like he doesn't show much attention or appreciations or whatever anymore, that maybe marriage is even worse. No. If you follow the rules, if you date properly, if you wait, and I know this might sound old-fashioned, but it works. If you wait, if he chases after you, if you are not so easy to get, if you know what I mean, he will want to marry you and he will value you.
And he will make you feel, like you said, appreciated, right?
Every single day.
Remember that the harder things to get are the ones people want the most, okay?
Yes.
Remember that. Don't forget, this Saturday we're going to be in Finsbury Park at the Rainbow Theatre at 7 p.m. in our weekly seminar for relationships, and you are our special guest. You can attend for free, there's no charge. We'd love to see you there. Okay, until next time, don't forget you can send us your questions to questions@lovetalkshow.tv or via Facebook. Until then, bye-bye.